Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Syakira binti Nur Afendi. My metric number is 060272. Today, I would like to present about crime of aggression. So, here we go.
Okay, aggression is defined as the planning, preparation, initiation, or execution by a person in a position effectively to exercise control over or to direct the political or military action of a state, of an act of aggression which by its character, gravity, and scale constitutes a manifest violation of the Charter of the United Nations.
Okay, for the subjective element, mainly lie on the criminal intent, which must be displayed by the perpetrator in the form of their participation, planning, committing if the crime. One can also be participating actively or facilitating others who are actively participating in the crime, for example, by supplying arms and also inciting them. Intent or must also be based on the awareness of the crime of accusation. The perpetrator should be fully aware of the crime, whether they are actively participating in the crime or planning to execute the crime. Perpetrators should be also aware of the significance uh, of the crime and also the consequences arising from the crime. Okay, next, the perpetrators must also be an individual, state official, or the state who are in position to exercise control over or to direct the political or military action of the state which commits the crime of accusation. Apart from the state, responsibility can also be incurred from a leading military official or a state official or even individual with the knowledge of the plan of committing the crime of aggression or participates in the crime. The crime must must be done with a special intent on gaining territorial advantage or to be obtained economic advantage into the internal affair of another state. The implementation of the special intent can be seen in the General Treaty of Paris for the renunciation of war, the Caleb-Bryan line of "know it when we see it," meaning that the crime of aggression ought to be seen once it has been committed. Then the perpetrator was aware of the factual circumstances that established, such as use of armed force was inconsistent with the UN Charter. They must be aware that use the armed force to cause the war of aggression contradicts the provision of the UN Charter. Objective element of the crime of aggression. The objective element of the crime can be defined as the act, omission, or conduct of the crime. This is the exterior of the crime. The objective of element crime of aggression are the act of the constitute the crime. They are provided for in Article 8 of the Rome Statute. Okay. First of all, the perpetrator plan, prepared, initiated or execute of an act aggression. Second, the person was in position effectively to exercise control over or to direct the political or military action of the state which committed act the aggression. The act of aggression involved the use of armed force by the state against the sovereignty, territorial integrity, or political independence of another state, or in any other manner inconsistent of the Charter of the United Nations was committed. Next, the act of the aggression by its character, gravity, scale, and constitute a manifest violation of the Charter of the United Nations. The perpetrator was aware of the factual circumstances that established that such a use of armed force was inconsistent with the UN Charter. The perpetrator was aware of the factual circumstances that established such a manifest violation of the UN Charter. Okay, pursuant to the definition of the UN General Assembly Resolution 33 14 of 1974, generally customary law prohibit all form of act of aggression in the context international wrongful act or criminal act. In this case, the objective element of the crime of aggression are including invasion or attack by the armed force of a state against the territory of another state or part thereof, bombing or armed force of a state against the territory of another state, or use any weapon by a state against the territory of another state, blockading a port or shore of a state by the armed force of another state, attacking another state through land, sea, or air while armed, and then the use of armed force of a state which are currently in the territory of another state with the consent of the receiving state which do not conform to condition expressed in the agreement between the two states, or any expression present of the armed force in the territory in not in accordance with the agreement between the two states.
What are the trigger
Lastly,
mechanism for
act
the
of
crime of
by state
aggression?
to
Act of
allow its
aggression include
territory
invasion,
under
military occupation,
order
and
from
annexation
another
by the
state
use of
to be used
force
by another
or
state to commit of
military
an act of aggression
blockade of
against of the
ports.
third state.
The Rome
Okay,
Statute
that's
is
all
located and
about the
established
objective
the
element
International
of
Criminal
the
Court.
crime
Article 8
of the
bis
crime
clause 2 of the
aggression.
Rome Statute define the act of aggression to mean by the use of force by a state against the sovereignty, territorial integrity, or political independence of another state, or in any manner inconsistent with the Charter of the United Nations General Assembly Resolution. The trigger mechanism includes firstly, state party refers to the prosecution. Second, refers to the prosecution by the United Nations Security Council under Chapter 7 of the under of the Chapter 7 of United Nations Charter, that the prosecutor own initiation of any investigation and prosecution. Okay, from the part of the Security Council, the Security Council must act before the ICC can prosecute an alleged crime of aggression against of individuals. The agreement is that under Article 39 of the UN Charter, the Security Council has exclusive competence by determining an act of aggression, and the court cannot proceed with a case without the determination by the Security Council. Article 39 of UN Charter give a clear authority for the Security Council to decide on aggression. On the tem- on determine once the sorry once determination is made, the ICC prosecution could investigate any individual who might be responsible in criminal context. Article 5 Clause 2 of the UN Charter does not require a prior determination by the Security Council. The agreement is that the Security Council has primary but not exclusive authority to determine of an aggression. The absence of a prior Security Council determination will be preclude the court from proceeding the case. Article 39 of the UN Charter provide that the Security Council shall be determine the existence of an threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, and shall be make recommendation or decide what measures should be taken in accordance with Article 41 and 42 to maintain or restore international peace or security. Okay, for the United Nations General Assembly, the United Nations General Assembly has in six situations declared certain act of aggression. For example, China against Korea in 1951, The occupation of Namibia by South Africa in 1963 and Israel against Iran, Lebanon and the Palestinian people. Resolution of UN are not binding but are considered highly persuasive. Okay, from the International Court of Justice, ICJ rule will be determine whether a state has committed an act of aggression, both in the form of judgment and it in form of advisory opinion, as in Nicaragua case and Democratic Republic of Congo case. It could also play a role by providing an advisory opinion at the request of the General Assembly or the Security Council. The SCG will reach a preliminary decision on state aggression following a determination by the Security Council that a threat to or a breach of peace has occurred. Lastly, a state party can refer a situation that the prosecutor can initiate investigation by one's own motion and on one own initiative. Uh, if the crime within the jurisdiction of the court appear to have committed by a national of a state party or on any territory of any state party. Okay, for the conclusion, the fact that number of states are still yet to ratify the amendment means that is it not a wholesale victory for the ICC. Equally, the veto power of the Security Council, five permanent members, remain a strong tool for the preventing prosecution. Nonetheless, after a complex and often critic history, the activation of the crime of aggression marks an important development in the ICC fight against international crime. More than 30 states have already accepted the amendment. For those who are still yet to do so, it may still be a deterrent. Not state want to be accused of abusing their decision not to ratify the amendment in order to carry out their crime of aggression with no repercussion. In short, state will now need to think even more carefully about the gravity and scale of any proposed aggressive action, which can only be a good thing. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.